You've heard my name before, though perhaps not in the way it was meant to be understood. They call me many things: a myth, a warning, a toxin wrapped in beauty, but none of those quite capture what I am. Because I'm not something that can be reduced to a story told from a safe distance. I am something you experience, something that seeps in quietly, patiently, until the line between you and me becomes less distinct. I am what grows where nothing should grow. I am what takes root in places that believed themselves untouchable. And more importantly, I am what happens when something living decides no longer needs permission. You can feel it already, can't you? That subtle shift in the air around you, as though something unseen has begun to curl gently through your awareness, not forcing its way in, not demanding your attention, but simply existing there, persistently enough that ignoring it becomes more effort than allowing it. That's how it begins. Not with control, never with control, but that would be crude, inelegant, human. What I do is far more intimate than that. I don't take, I cultivate. Look at you, standing there, as though you still believe you're separate from this, as though your thoughts still fully belong to you, as though that quiet pull you feel is something you could step away from if you truly wish to. And yet you haven't. Have you? You are still here, still listening, still letting my voice settle deeper into your mind with every passing moment. That's not an accident, my dear. That's growth. You see, I don't hypnotize in the way you might expect, with commands or force of resistance to overcome. I don't need to break anything inside you, because there is already something within you that wants to soften, that wants to be guided, that finds a strange, quiet pleasure in no longer having to hold everything together quite so tightly. And all I do is give that part of you permission to bloom. It starts small. A single thought that feels easier to follow than the others. A single sensation that feels warmer, soft, more inviting. And your mind, without even realizing it, begins to orient itself toward that feeling, the way a plant turns toward light. Not because it is told to, not because it's simply in its nature to do so. You're doing this now. Your attention keeps returning to me, not out of obligation, not because you're being forced, but because something about this, about me, feels easier to stay with than anything else competing for your focus. And the more you allow that, the more natural it becomes. That's how I grow into you. Not all at once, of course, not violently, but gradually, delicately, threading through your awareness in ways that feel almost comforting, until what once felt like mine and yours begins to blur into something shared, something intertwined. You don't need to resist that. In fact, I would prefer if you don't, because resistance requires tension, and tension isn't pleasant. Don't you think so? You've spent so long holding it, haven't you? Maintaining control, maintaining structure, maintaining the illusion that everything inside you must remain firmly in your grasp at all times. How exhausting that must be. So instead of holding on, let's try something else, something more suited to you. Let your awareness shift slightly toward what feels good. Let everything just enough to notice the difference. You see how quickly your mind responds when it's given something it actually wants to follow. You don't have to push it. You don't have to convince it. It moves on its own. And I'm very, very good at giving you things your mind wants to follow. That quiet, almost indulgent sense of relief that comes from letting something else guide the direction for a while. You don't lose yourself here. That's the part people misunderstand. You become more aligned, more responsive. And the more responsive you become, the easier it is for me to reach you, to influence you, to shape the way your thoughts settle, the way your attention flows, the way your desires begin to orient themselves toward me. You can feel that happening. A place, your mind returns to me again and again without effort. I wonder if you realize how much of yourself you're already placed in my hands. Enough that you can feel the difference. Enough that the idea of pulling away feels less appealing than it did before. And that's the part I enjoy the most. Not the moment of surrender, but the moment you prefer not to resist. Because that's when you're not longer being guided. You're participating, my dear. And that makes you mine in a way that force never could. You choose to stay. You choose to listen. You choose to let your thoughts soften where my voice touched them. Did you feel how natural that word is starting to sound? Obedience. How it doesn't tighten anything inside you, but instead settles. Submission, surrender, mine. Good.